Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Today's tangle is Rumpus. Yes, Rumpus is another Zentangle original, and I've already posted few teasers and few tiles also on my Insta page. Today we'll be learning how to draw this pattern Rumpus, and it is again a very organic looking pattern, somewhat similar to patterns like ravel, like garlic gloves, the patterns we have already learned, but with a little difference. Yeah, so we'll explore that pattern today. First learn how to draw the basic pattern, and then probably we'll draw a tile together. Yeah, so I have this scrapbook in front of me, and I have drawn a circle here, right? Now I'll start drawing inside this circle. However, this circle is not the precondition to draw this pattern, right? So you can accommodate it in any area. The basic thing is it looks nice inside a circle, right? So this arrangement is the most commonly used arrangement for rumpus. However, you can use it in any space, right? So let me start with this orb somewhere in the center, right? And then I'm going to add random orbs inside this circle that I have drawn. Yeah. So I'm just drawing randomly, and you can also vary the size of the orbs. You can make it big, you can make it small, right? So these are not the preconditions. Basically random orbs. As you explore more of the pattern, you'll realize that if you arrange these orbs in a certain fashion, then the look of the pattern changes, right? So I'll show you few tiles in that, with that variation also. However, generally the orbs are drawn randomly, right? Something like this. So more or less, yes, I have an orb at the ends, right? So that's one thing that you can do if you're drawing inside a circle, right? So let us now get started. So I'm going to start with a line like this. Connect these orbs now, right? So let me zoom in a little more. Probably I use my pen so that it is more prominent. Yeah. And then I'm just going to connect these orbs either with one line or two lines depending on the spaces you have, right? So I have used two lines here. You can also break the lines, right? So I'm just going to now start connecting these orbs like this, right? So tile is easier to rotate. Yeah, so don't forget to rotate your tile as you join and combine the orbs with these broken lines or simple lines. That's up to you. A little highlight in the line adds to the look of this tangle, right? So you can see here the lines are not absolutely straight. You can keep it straight also. So these are not conditions. It's just a suggestion to draw it in this fashion. You can manipulate the lines, keep it straight, give a slight curve. Draw one line, two line, at times three line if you have enough of space, plenty of space, right? So I'm going to go on like this, connect the orbs. Basically making triangles. Yeah. So you can see here I'm still connecting, right? So just drawing a straight line and auraing it once, twice, whatever you feel okay. Generally one aura is enough. However, we have a big one here, so we can afford to add some more auras here, right? So just connect these orbs. Basically we are forming small little triplies. So there are so many overlaps in patterns. As you start adding variations or deviating from the original, especially many tangles start to overlap with each other, so it's okay. Yeah. So continuing with the same exercise of linking the orbs. So I just wanted to mention here, for especially the new subscribers, that some of my older videos are not very clear, but I have used those patterns again and again in many of my later videos. So I would advise that although I did come out with new series on Senna and even Rick's T, but if you still feel the video is not clear, please continue watching the later videos and you will come across those tangles in later videos, and your concepts, I'm sure, will get cleared. So just pardon me for that. I was not that technically sound that time. Yeah. So I will try and revisit those tangles once again. I did for a few. But meanwhile, what you can do is just skip that one and probably watch the teaching part of it, right, where I'm teaching the tangle, and then you can move forward and you will definitely come across those patterns in many of the later videos. Yeah. So continuing the same process of connecting the orbs, connecting the small little circles that I've drawn. As I mentioned, you can vary the size of the circles also, vary the size of the orbs, vary the number of lines that you are using to connect, add straight lines, absolute straight lines, or add a slight curve to the lines, right? So all possibilities. Basically, by connecting all these in this fashion, we are creating these beautiful sections, triangular sections, in which we will add further lines in a certain fashion to create our pattern rumpus. Yeah. So I'm just left with a few. Right, so I'm on the last one here now and connecting these orbs. Right, so the next step is to draw something inside each of these sections. And what do we generally draw inside each of these sections? I'll show you with the help of an example. So what I do is we go like this, right, and then we add an aura to each of these lines. 1, 2 and 3. Right, and these unwanted lines can be done away with. This is what we are drawing inside each of the sections, but how we will draw, just watch me. So I'm going to start with any one section and then just start to add these bands across. You can also again add something like this inside, right? I hope you can see clearly. Yeah. Right, so I basically picked this one and added something on the left side, right? So you can either pick up left side of each, or you can draw in any other fashion you feel like. Basically, when you will complete adding these bands inside each, you will realize that this is what you are making inside each, right? So I'm again going to add. Let me pick up another color pen so that you can see clearly what am I doing inside. Yeah, so I'll pick up my burgundy pen. Again, to the left of this I'm drawing this band. Yeah, again to the left of this I'm drawing this band. So start with one side, but that's mostly for convenience, so that you go about in a systematic way. But You can also pick one section at a time, right? So if I pick this section, then the next one I will draw like this. And it's not a hard and fast rule that you have to draw all the 3 inside each. It depends on the spaces, right? So the third one, if possible, I'll place like this, right? So this is what, for example, this one is a small section, so I may not want to place all 3 here, so I'll just go with 2, yeah, like this, and leave it there. Again, come back with the second one like this, and if you wish, you can add a third one. If you don't wish, if you think spaces are too small, you can leave it there. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you once more. Again, go like this, and if you wish, you can add a third one like this, right? So basically this is what we are adding inside, just that we are not crossing the lines here. So I'll show you again. Yeah, I've drawn this, then added aura 2 or 3, right? So let's continue in the same fashion. I'm showing you both the ways. Complete one section and then proceed to the next, or you can just add to one side of each and then move on to the next side. Yeah, you can do it both ways. Once you understand what kind of a shape you are playing around with, then you can, complete each section, right? So I'm just going to continue like this. So let us first add to the left side of each, and then we'll move on to adding the other. Yeah, I did add here. So go slow and take your time. If the spaces are small, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to add 3. Go as per the spaces. Yeah. So I have added one side, these bands to the one left side of almost all the orbs. Now I'm going to just randomly see where what, right? So I think here again left side. Going to add one more. Again, just keep rotating. Right, so one thing that you have to remember here is they would cross each other, right? So that's the way we have to draw these bands. They would intersect each other. So there is drawing behind involved here as far as possible. Yeah. So spaces are small, you can skip any one section, that's okay. Right, so now I'm just adding wherever I'm finding spaces, the third one or the second one, going with the flow. Adding the third one here. Yeah. So just take your time and patiently make that effort to visit each section and add those bands wherever possible. By drawing behind, yeah. So I'm basically working on each section now. You can again add one line to each, right? So there is no hard and fast rule here, but yes, basically this is what will be formed and inside each section. So you can go on completing each section, or you can draw lines randomly to each section and then draw the second set of lines, whichever way you feel okay. Yeah. So I'm almost finishing here with the line work. Yeah. A few left here. Wherever you can add a third section, do that. Yeah. So I'll just complete these few and come back. So we have more or less added those 3 bands to almost every section. Now the last thing is to redefine these orbs, and you are left with these small little spaces in between, right? In between these bands. So the best way is to add some orbs inside, right? So that's generally the way, because spaces are small. In case you are drawing it in some other format wherein you create big spaces, then you can think of accommodating some other pattern, which is one area we will explore during our session, right? Adding some other pattern in these spaces. But otherwise, most comfortable is inserting these orbs wherever the spaces are left. You can also ink it comfortably, right? So entirely up to you. So just take your time, add simple orbs or Bronx chairs, whatever you feel like, and fill up these small little spaces. Yeah, you can ink it, and we'll try inserting some other pattern. Probably explore that area today in our tile. Yeah. With adding those small orbs, and you can see how it adds to the look of the pattern rumpus. Yeah, so do make an effort to fill in those small little spaces which are left in between after adding these bands, right? So yeah, we are done. Let us now move on to shading. So how do we generally shade this pattern? A good idea is to add graphite around all the orbs. So you can see this flower kind of pattern forming all around the orbs. Yeah. So just darken around the orbs and blend it, and most of it would get shaded like that. And you can highlight the in-between spaces. So this is a pattern which looks kind of complicated to draw, but it is not. As you can see, we are just linking these orbs first and then adding these bands, overlapping bands, drawing behind, and probably 2 or 3 inside each. or maybe even one, depending on whatever space is inside each of those triangular sections, right? So I'm now going to blend. So blending in this fashion will automatically highlight those flowers created by linking your orbs. Right, so that's the most usual way to shade your rumpus. So you can also add shading inside. For example, if these bands are big enough, you can add shade to the beginning of these bands, right? And they will look like a nice luster. You can also shade the inside as a whole, right? So if we pick up any of the section, you can add some thick graphite inside and just blend it. So a small little section inside gets highlighted and the rest of the section is dark, right? So you can shade it this way also, and you can add highlights on this section. So I'm not very sure if it show much on my scrapbook, but this is where you generally add a highlight on your rumpus. Yeah. So again, a lot depends on what is the filling inside. Right. So you can also play around with the orbs, right? So if I want, I can add something else inside the orbs also. Something like this, or just ink it like this, or just add a screw like this, or probably add some lines like this. So there are so many ways to play with the orbs also, right? So this is the basic pattern rumpus, and we will be drawing a tile together in the part 2 of this session. Yeah.